Hello, are you ready to hit the road and discover some hidden gems along the way? I'm Gary, one of your guides for this scenic road trip adventure. Today we will be exploring the historic Natchez Trace Parkway. Along the way we will visit Jeff Busby, Line Creek, part of the old Trace, and Bynum Mounds. If you love road trips and discovering new destinations, be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video. So fasten your seatbelt and let's get going. We're going to take a lunch break at Jeff Busby. This is the highest point in Mississippi at 603 feet. So we're going to drive up to the summit of Little Mountain and take a look and see what it looks like around there. Enjoy a nice roast beef sandwich that we got at French Camp a little bit back down the trace. Okay, we're at Jeff Busby. Jeff Busby was actually a congressman that introduced a bill to survey the old Natchez Trace. So that's how we got the current Natchez Trace, which is pretty cool. But you can look around and see from this highest point, you know, this vista, a lot of pine trees over the back behind us, smoke. Early spring, so the trees haven't had a chance to put on leaves and blooms and stuff. We have seen some wildflowers that you've seen, but it's still a beautiful area to be up here and a beautiful temperature today. So it's going to be nice having our little roast beef sandwich up here. So we'll catch you after we get through with lunch. Come along. You know, on our way down from home down to southern Mississippi, we crossed a couple of state lines. And there were border lines there, and even on our GPS it'd say, hey, welcome to Alabama, hey, welcome to Mississippi. So we're used to those kind of boundaries. This land, when it was inhabited by Native American Indians, they didn't necessarily recognize those kind of borders that we do. But right behind me is a creek, and that was actually used by the Chickasaw and the Choctaw Indians. They accepted that as kind of a dividing line between the two boundaries, the two areas that they would live and hunt and survive on. So it's interesting that we do that now. They didn't do that so much back then. And as we all know, both of those tribes were eventually moved to Oklahoma and during the Trail of Tears and during the 1830s, and what a tragedy that was for the Indian nations and a tragedy for the U.S. as a whole as well. But it's interesting that right here we have an ancient boundary dating back into the 1800s. Amazing what you can find when you stop along the Natchez Trace and explore what's there. So let's continue on up the trace and we'll see what we find. Oh, howdy, how you doing? I'm on my way back home. What are you doing? That's probably the way somebody would greet somebody on this old Natchez Trace that we're here on. You can see kind of the clearing where it kind of goes down. This was originally used by Indians as a way to go from north to south and south to north as they migrated with the seasons and looking for food and, you know, getting out of the way of other Indians. Later on, white man used it as they did trade. They would take goods from the north, from like Nashville and that area. They would float rafts down to either Natchez, Mississippi, or as far as New Orleans. They would sell their goods, then they would take the Natchez Trace back home. So all along this trace, there were little spots that people set up as stations for them to spend the night. And so it's very interesting that we can still see part of this that has stayed the way it was. I'm sure the Park Service is working on that as well. but man has kind of created this, and nature's trying to get it back by slowly growing in. So I'll catch you on down the trail. Glad I was looking where I was walking. Right here, a beautiful mushroom with a red top on it, a white stem down in there. Not sure if this thing is edible or not, but it is pretty. Something else Nona and I look for as we go our different ways, but the trace is right along here, and this was right on the side of it. Beautiful. Welcome to Bynum Mounds. These are two Indian mounds, one on my right and one on my left. These are spiritual mounds that Chickasha and Choctaw Indians have built 1,000, 3,000 years ago. This was in front of me a village, Indian village, where they would harvest various grains, grow a few things, harvest things out of the woods around, animals, acorn nuts, all kinds of things out of there to survive on. They later abandoned this, and then the Chickasha came in and were here for a period of time, and then they abandoned as well. These were excavated back in the 1940s, and that's how it was kind of determined who was here and when they were here. But a lot of times they were used for burial sites, and other times they were just representing spirituality of the Indians, of what they would do. But it's very interesting to know that 3,000 years ago there were people living here and surviving off the land. Let's continue on up the trace, see what we can find. Come along. As we're driving along, I hate to stop because of traffic, but the Forest Service is doing a control burn where they're burning some of the undergrowth and some of that amongst the trees to keep any kind of fire from really getting too bad.
I've never seen anything like that before.
This way they can do it when the weather's just right. They can keep an eye on it to keep it from spreading. That way if there is a lightning strike or somebody does a no-no, like throw out a cigarette butt or a stray ash or something, could cause a lot more damage.